Oh my God, this weather is horrible. How much does a house like this cost in Brisbane, Australia in 2025? Now this isn't a house costing video because I bought this nearly 5 years ago and those prices really aren't relevant in today's market. But instead we're going to go through the costs of what it's like to live in Australia in 2025. That's a little bit more appropriate. And we're just going to use my life as an example. So if you're looking to move to Australia and you're interested to know how much we spend, or you're just a bit of a nosy parker and you just want to know from that perspective, then watch along, but I hope it doesn't keep raining. And I've also included the cost that we spent last year, so you'll be able to see if anything's gone up or down. And the same as last time, we'll start with the energy. Actually, I don't like this weather. And while we go through this, I'm going to share some tips and advice about how you could also save money on some of your bills in Australia. If any of the links below can save you money, then that's great. I hope it does for you. And to be totally honest and transparent, if you do end up using some of the links, then it's going to also help to support the channel and help us to keep making videos like this for you. Oh my goodness, it is dark inside. Energy costs. No, this isn't just a really untidy garage. I mean, it is, but there's a solar box thingy, an inverter. Yeah, an inverter. To add a little bit of context for our energy bills. God, this is a tip, isn't it? So last year I was saying that we were paying around about $286 per month for our energy bills. Now in hindsight, that does seem a little bit expensive, particularly as we've got solar panels. But as you've seen from today, the weather isn't so kind to us in Brisbane all of the time. But on average over the last year, we've been paying around about $125, which is a massive saving on our energy bills. Now, how does it end up being like that, you ask? Well, I'm not factoring in any kind of rebates that we had last year, although that was a lovely help, because this year the energy rebate I've just checked has only been about $75. Not that I expect money from the government all of the time just to pay for my energy, but it is a nice touch. But how have we saved some money on our energy bills? Well, we switched energy provider for a start. We're now with a company called OVO. I'm not necessarily saying that they're always the best, but they do really well for us. And there's a link down in the description below that if you want to save up to $120 because we referred them to you, well, I don't know, is that a good thing? Give it a try maybe. I've also installed some potentially energy saving, not appliances, just things to our house to help save some energy, particularly in the summer, because most of it is really being used for either air conditioning or heating. But most of the windows on our house are now tinted. That was a pain in the arse weekend that I'd rather forget. We now rely less on this thing for our heating during the winter. And instead we've got these electrical blankets, particularly for the girls because they get cold overnight. And in comparison, that's saving us about $4 or $5 per room to heat, because you know, solar doesn't work so well overnight. And in fact, they're so bloody good, we just got the Kmart ones that Sam insisted on us buying an electric throw for her when she's sitting down watching the telly at night. Look, all electrical powered. And in comparison to heating the room, which let's face it, it doesn't actually get down to that cold an air temperature, particularly in the evening or overnight, providing the warmth exactly where you're sitting or you're laying is probably a more energy efficient use of your money. I'm kidding myself by saying energy efficient. I don't really kind of care sometimes. It's just about how much money does it cost. But not all bills have gone down, obviously. I have to do this again. Yeah, it works. Our water bills used to be $465 a quarter, and now they're about $472 a quarter. So they've gone up, even though I think we've used less water. And yeah, I know I still haven't done the decorating in here. Rates for this place last year were about $465 a quarter as well. And since last year, they've gone up to $539. But we now have got this jazzy green bin for green waste. I mean, they just made us pay extra for it. We didn't really do anything before anyway. I just used to put it in the compost bin or in the red one. So yeah, thanks Moreton Bay Council. This time last year, I was a bit concerned about our home and contents insurance. Was I really paying enough? Had I got it right? What happened if it had burnt down and I wasn't really covered? These are all questions I used to ask myself on a daily basis. And I used to pay $1,087 for the home and contents insurance for this place. And that's now gone up to $1,595. I mean, I did do a couple of tweaks. I valued things a little bit more just in case. But as you'll see with the rest of this video, insurance prices in Australia kind of have gone a little bit silly. NBN, that's another one that's gone up. Used to be $96.95, now it's $99. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not crying over a few bucks, but it all does add up. And as you can see, we no longer have that fetch box thing, even though we are still with Optus. But the Premier League has changed, and now I don't have to be with Optus in order to have it. It's gone to Stan instead. And the good thing about that is I don't have to pay for my Premier League until about January because they've put me on some kind of deal. But that's going to be $10 a month again as well if I want to, you know, keep it. Pests and termite sprays have gone up from $420 to $430. Not a big increase, and my mate does do it for me, so I guess I don't mind paying a little bit extra, probably because chemicals and stuff have gone up. And I don't really know why I'm out here telling you about it, but we do have this kind of, down here, not the dog. There is a termite barrier installed, which I guess needs to be updated every 5 years. But I also got a new dartboard. Again, I got that for my birthday about 2 years ago, but I've only just finally put it up. I've always told you I'm lazy, I'm not lying. Now, if you mainly watch our channel because like us, you want to move to Australia, or indeed you're currently in Australia and you're looking for a more permanent way to stay, then as ever, you need to speak to the sponsors of this video, True Blue Migration Services. Now, we've worked with them for about 4 years, helping people like us settle permanently in Australia and live their best lives. If you're in the early stages of your visa process and you don't know where to start, or you're currently here, you want to stay, you've got a job and you're looking for a pathway to permanent residency, then contact them, and when you mention That Johnston Life, you'll get to use their free visa assessment where they'll be able to tell you all of the different pathways that you could use to live and stay in Australia permanently. I know that right now, some of the more traditional permanent residency visas are taking ages to process, but if you really have no idea about what you could do next, it's always best to speak to the experts who may be able to tell you about a way that you didn't know or a route that might be slightly quicker. I know that when we were looking to move to Australia, I had no idea about the visa process, and the use of a visa agent was invaluable. And I'm also bloody lazy, and I probably wouldn't have done the paperwork as quick as I could have, or I would have just made a mistake. So if you're stuck with how to settle in Australia permanently and you want to find out what your next best steps are, mention That Johnston Life when you speak to True Blue Migration Services. And because we've been working with them for so long, you'll even go on to save an additional $200 off the cost of your visa, which I think is another $200 saving that we've been able to provide since this time last year. In my magic cupboard of tricks, I've still got all of the pool chemicals. I mean, most of them are there. And those are still costing me about $25 to $30 a month on stuff to stop my pool from going green. I also did get some new filters in the post the other day for the summer season. And I got these on a bit of a buy one, get the second one a bit cheaper kind of thing. Is that even a deal? But they're about $80 each. And when I looked at the invoice for the last time that I bought pool filters, I kind of haven't bought one since about 2021. Why did I say it like that? 2021. So the last ones have lasted for best part of 4 years. That's 2 years a pool filter. That's $40. Someone's going to tell me that I'm probably not changing them enough, or maybe I'm very good at cleaning them. The easiest answer is that I'm probably just really tight and I'm not buying them often enough. Now, the mortgage costs last year were about $2,400 per month. And because the interest rates since this time last year have kind of gone down, it's always a good idea to see if you can get a better rate on your mortgage. Now, I've done a podcast with these guys before to help migrants to Australia, or anyone that does live here for that fact that's looking to buy a house. My friend Ben at Track Financial, if you contact him today, tell him you know us and he'll be able to sort you out on a great rate. But as I said before, we bought our house in 2020 before all the prices, even the Brisbane prices, started to go crazy. So we didn't pay best part of $1 million for this house. Now, the mortgage equivalent on this place now would be about $2,300. So it is a tiny bit of a saving in comparison to last year, but that is taking into account that we didn't pay the silly prices. We had a really decent deposit from the properties that we sold in the UK. And if you get funny about any of the prices that we're quoting on this, I mean, sorry mate, like that's just how much we pay. I mean, I can only really give the prices for how much we pay for things. I mean, I don't know how much other people pay. They don't make videos on YouTube. Fuel for the cars, that's a reasonably interesting one. Last year we were paying about $1.94 a litre for diesel. Weirdly, that was the same for E10, and the only reason I know is because we've got 2 cars in this household and they use a different type of fuel. But for anyone that's got a fancier car, shut up, plovers. But for anyone that's got a fancier car, the 98 was $2.16. Now the price of diesel is $1.76 a litre, and the missus has gone out today, but the Outlander, which uses E10, is $1.56, and 98's down to about $1.80. Which means in total my $50 to $60 per week spent on diesel has gone down to about $40 to $50. I mean, I have changed jobs in that time as well, so there's slightly less mileage. And the wife, rather than spending $40 to $50, is now spending more like $30 to $40. And if you're wondering about vehicles, this cheap Chinese ute back here, that cost me about $38,000 in 2021. And according to car sales now, if you wanted to buy something similar, it would be about 30 grand. And normally in the garage are 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander, which cost about $27,000 when we first moved. Again, if you wanted to buy something similar to that today, I mean, I'm talking about the ages of the car now, taking into consideration, that would be about 20 grand. Car insurance for this last year was $690. That's gone up to $776. And the Outlander, which the missus also uses for business because she's a disability support worker, that was $878, and that went up to $980. Servicing wise, now both of the vehicles are out of their kind of capped price servicing, which used to be anywhere from $300 to $500 depending on the size of the service that you needed. So I guess now we're looking at about $600, $700 plus. And if you know anyone that can do cheaper servicing for our vehicles, then please let me know. But at least we have saved some money thanks to Queensland cost of living initiatives. Last year the rego was $793 on this vehicle, and now it's about $723 because there's a bit of a discount. And both of our vehicles are 4-cylinder, so that's the same price for each one. And if you're wondering where the girls are today, Sam's taking them out on the train to some kind of dopamine land, I want to say. Does kind of sound a little bit sketchy, but I guess it's not as good as playing golf in the rain this afternoon like I'm going to be. This time last year, trains were about $5 to $6 for that journey into the city. And since then, Queensland's had a massive push on public transport, and now all of the fares are 50 cents. Uber's gone up ever so slightly, and I had to use that the other week when I went out to an 80s night at Eaton's Hill Hotel. Yeah, I know, I got invited. But an Uber into the city, if you wanted to not pay the 50 cents, last year would have been $70, and this year it's 72 apparently. And Sam did say, well, what about if we just drive into the city rather than paying 50-cent fares? Apparently it doesn't encourage everyone to use public transport, but I said, well, that's a bit daft. Even on a weekend, if you wanted to park in the city, it would still cost you about $10, and that's like the cheapest that I could find. But if you wanted to park in Brisbane city centre on a weekday, this time last year it would cost about $60, and the cheapest ones that I could find when I looked this year were about $80. Why would you just not use the train, mate? Phones haven't necessarily changed that much in the last year. My old plan with Woolies was $220 for about 180 gigs. I think they've discontinued that, and actually I didn't really have enough data all the time. So now I've switched to $25 a month for 22 gigs, and then the only reason I use Woolies is because you still get the 10% off per month, which when I do a big shop there, it basically means I don't pay for my phone. I mean, I am getting price gouged by Woolies, but you know, swings and roundabouts. And for Sam's mobile, she used to use Belong, which apparently was voted the best mobile provider of the year, but you know, who cares? We switched it. She used to pay $29 for 25 gigabytes of memory, and instead I think we switched her to an Aldi one, which is $25 and 22 gigs of memory. But genuinely the only reason we use Aldi instead of using Woolies, because, you know, why would we not just get two 10% offs per month, is because at least on Aldi we still get to use the international phone calls. So if we do need to call the UK for whatever reason, we have a phone number that can do that, because apparently I'm not allowed to do that on the Woolies one. Now with groceries, we do those types of videos regularly-ish. do. And the last time I checked, we were spending anywhere from $150 to $200 per week on our groceries. And if I'm being really honest, it's probably closer to the 200 rather than the 150. But when I looked up a couple of different prices for things compared to last year, bread, you can still get that for about $2.40 a loaf. Milk has gone up a bit from $4.50 to $4.65, and that's for a 3-litre variety. Eggs have gone up because apparently, you know, they keep culling them, and they used to be $5.20 for a dozen, and they've gone up to $6.60. Beef mince, we still shop at Costco, so we get that for about $10 a kilo. Chicken breasts, again, about the same, 10 or 11-ish. And we always shop for our vegetables and stuff in season. Or we use the local greengrocer, because I don't understand how anyone can spend like $34 a kilo for snow peas. I don't think I've eaten snow peas in the last 5 years. Now, since the last video, our pet costs have gone up a little bit. Now, that's because we've upgraded from not just one dog, come here, and we've now got 2 of the buggers. But they also have put some prices up as well. So insurance costs, I quoted about $25 a week. Now, we have looked at that, and that is a bit crazy prices. I think that would have been covering for everything, and we don't need that with these 2 idiots. So instead, there is a better plan for about $43 a month, but then obviously our costs are all doubled. Food costs, even though we have switched the diet from these ones because we don't like feeding them all the crap, and it's actually made them a bit better in regards to their temperament, feeding them proper food. And that's still about $10 to $15 a month, depending on how many treats you want to give you. Mate, they just eat loads of carrots, to be fair. Simparica Trio is about $15 a tablet still, but that really does depend, just in case we can find a deal sometimes. And that's their flea and tick treatment. Come here, Tony, you lazy moo. Look at her, just chilling out there. Rego costs to register the dogs with the council. Yes, that's something that you have to do in Australia. That's gone up like $1 from $48 to $49 a year. The baths, if you want to use one of those fancy puppy baths, has gone up from $10 to about $12 every time. so we just wash them more in the garden, and they hate it because it's water's cold. But if you're not as tight as I am, dog groomer costs have also gone up from anywhere between $60 to $100 to more like $65 to $120. It seems that more people just want to spend more money on their dogs. Now let's go through the cost to do things. Get off, dog. If you wanted to eat out, last year it was about $20 to $30, and to be honest, that price is pretty similar. But again, like most things, it's probably more towards the top end, about $30 per person. Kids still anywhere from 10 to 15 is about right. A schooner at happy hour of my local pub is still about $5.50. God knows how they can charge that much sometimes. Because again, the same kind of prices in the city would be about 12 bucks. Wine's still $5.50 at my local, but again, anywhere from 12 to 15 in the city. And cocktails, while they used to be about 15 to 20, they're probably going to be closer to 20 now instead. Now for a Macca's, because that's a great test for cost of living wherever you live, I am a bit disappointed because they don't do the 24 nuggets for 10 bucks anymore. And instead for 20, you have to pay $15.30. A medium Big Mac meal is $12.95. The cinema's gone up in price from $20 to $40, and instead that's $28 to $46. Don't worry, for kids it's only $22. But lots of places do promotions, typically on a Tuesday, where you can get it a lot cheaper. I don't know if I love my kids that much to be taking them to the cinema on a Friday night. There are plenty of other things that we could be doing for cheaper and just go on a Tuesday, mate. How much do tickets for events and things cost? Well, in the last year we went to see a comedian called Paul Smith, and tickets for that at the entertainment centre cost $81.50, but you do pay about 20 bucks for parking. So we filled up the car with 4 people and shared it. We're going to Ed Sheeran next year, and that price is weirdly the same again. It cost us $149 more than last year to go, and this year we got tickets for $149 again. If sport is your thing, whilst you might not necessarily be able to go and watch the same level of sport as you would do in the UK, but I've now fallen in love with NRL. And to take Aurora to the Dolphins in a few weeks, that's costing $100 for a family pass. And I'm going with my dad and a friend to the Ashes just before Christmas at the Gabba, and that's costing us $71.50 each. Flat whites, generally speaking, have kind of gone up in price. Gone are the days where you could pay for a $5 cup of coffee and be okay with it, and instead it's more like $6, if not $7. But takeaways, generally speaking, are anywhere from $20 to $30 each, depending on what style of takeaway you want to go for. Childcare costs are always going up, and this time last year we were paying about $110 for our youngest, who I know isn't even on this picture. Apparently the new rates for that are going up to about $133, and I know these prices do vary widely depending on where you live in Australia. But the one thing that does seem to be consistent is childcare subsidy, and whilst that is the advertised fee per day, that's not actually what we pay, because childcare subsidy takes off a load of it, and it works upon how much money you earn as a couple. For Aurora, for her school, because she goes to a state school, that's still kind of free. You do have to pay for uniforms, you do have to pay for equipment, but the only other cost really is a voluntary contribution, which we still do, and that's $40 a year. Doctor's visits, they used to be about $83 with a $41 rebate. They've obviously gone up, but not as much as you'd think, and they're $85, and instead you get a $40 rebate. And the kids are still bulk billed. Health insurance, because it seems to be that anything with an insurance word in it just seems to be going up this year. Now we don't have it, but again, I did look into the same level of cover. And last year for a family of 4, it would have been about $200 a month. This year, if we wanted to take it out, it would be $265. And I'm telling you now, I have not opted for health insurance. And I just keep praying that we're going to be okay and that the Medicare system is going to look after us, which it does much better than the NHS. My haircuts are still anywhere from $20 to $40. I'll actually just pay $20. I've been with the same hairdresser for the last 5 years pretty much. And I know some of you might be thinking, Ross, just spend a little bit more, mate. The wife had a cut and colour done the other day. That was about $130, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much the cheapest one that she could find as well. The cost for dentist trips, like just to have a clean last year, were anywhere between $200 and $300. Yes, I know we thought that was expensive too. And we've signed up to a new dentist, and I think that was $150 for a clean. But in my little research for this video, I did look around again, and I did find a checkup and a clean for $99. Since last year, I've now put a bit of a gym in the house. I know I still need to redecorate it a little bit, but bearing in mind how long the kitchen has taken me, it might be a while. I might as well just pay for a gym really. They're still about $7 a week, but you know, there's no commuting time. And my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that I do is still currently at $44 a week, but we did just have an email recently and they're putting it up to $53. But I'm still kind of happy about it because I love the community there, and it's the cheapest one around. Shout out to Balance at North Lakes. Golf prices are still roughly the same. Expect to pay anywhere from $35, $40 up to $100 per round. Or like me, I've since bought a golf membership because I love playing in UK style weather, and that one cost me about $1,200 a year. I just hope it doesn't start raining this afternoon when I'm playing. And our days out at Australia Zoo, which cost about $139 a ticket and 99 bucks for a kid, we don't do them anymore because we've kind of done it enough for the year. So we switched to Dream World and we've saved some money because they were only $99 an annual pass. I just hope that when the kids get a bit older and we start going to Movie World instead, because the rides are bigger, they also have their deal at $199 per annual pass. Is it twice as good though? So I hope you found this video helpful in giving you a bit of a better understanding into the costs of what it's like to live in Australia. I'm sorry if I can only provide that for what it's like to live in Brisbane in 2025. I am only one person. But if you want to share the costs of what you spend where you live in Australia or anywhere else in the world for comparison, please make sure to pop that down in the comments below. And if you live here or you're looking to move here and you want to use any of the things that we do that's also hopefully going to save you a bit of money, all the links of those are also in the description. And full transparency, if you use any of them to save you some money, it also goes on to help us with the channel in making more videos like this for you. And if you just love ordering people around on social media, why don't you just tell us what kind of video we should do next? Particularly as we want to show you more of this beautiful country that we live in, just maybe not today with the weather. Wish me luck at golf. I'll see you soon.